Good evening. This is Taxonomy Tuesday from New Jersey Mycological Association. I'm Sue, your host tonight. This is where our members share their recent fungal finds, or sometimes in the winter, just ones that they want to have identified or share while nothing else is happening. So does anybody would like to start by sharing something from their computer? If not, we'll go to the email. Uh, Doug, would you like to start? You seem to have quite a few.
Yes, let me just situate myself. I just came upstairs. I think I'm presentable. I'll put my hat on. Let me get my glasses.
Yeah, no naked heads.
Okay. Um, I'll try to pronounce these names right. Sue, I sent you two of Pleopsidium flavum. The first one I realized was out of focus. The second one's in good focus.
Let's try that one first.
So I thought it would be
Share the
fun.
screen. Okay, can
There it
everybody
is.
see it? Okay, let me just make it bigger.
Then you might want to zero in on it and expand. Um, can you expand it close up?
Bigger than that? No.
You can't?
No, that's as big as it gets.
Oh, okay. Sorry
Is there
about
another
that.
picture or just that one? There's only the one picture?
I thought maybe uh, if people are looking on a cell phone, you should be able to take your thumb and expand it. I don't know about the computer. There you go. Is that you doing
Yeah,
that?
that's the same thing I had before.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay, so that's
Okay.
much better. So I was out in New Mexico visiting about a month ago, and a little over a month ago, and these photos are taken in the Rio Grande Gorge, but at the lip of the canyon, and up there near Taos, it's very deep. It's carved a very deep gorge there, and there's just a ton of lichen out there because it's high Rocky Mountain. It's about 8,500 feet, the Southern Rockies, and desert. And there's a lot of sun exposure, and there's a lot of rock. And all the ones I saw were fairly common out there. I tried to ID them when I was out there, and then I realized it might be kind of fun in the winter here to see some color and just show a few of these photos. This one is called gold cobblestone lichen, and it likes granitic rock.
Just trying to get to the email. Yeah, okay. Right. Placidium flavum. Okay.
Flavum, as in yellow,
Flavum.
Pleopsidium flavum, gold cobblestone. There's a number of lichens out there with the cobblestone name, and you can see that morphology. And it's kind of neat. It's pretty abundant. It likes these high elevations. And when I was looking it up, it said it's extremely, not extreme, but pretty slow growing. I'll show another one. Uh, and it forms these kind of, I guess they're rosettes, and then it keeps growing in a ring-like shape from the leading edge, and they can be very old.
Another one would be which one would you like to go to? The rhizocarbon?
Oh, sure. Let's go to
Okay.
Rhizocarpon. These are another yellow one.
Okay.
Okay, and let's see if you can get that one so we can see that. It's not centered the way I see it there.
It's right. It's not centered. There's nothing I can do about that. It
Yep,
wasn't centered
yep,
on the picture.
yep, yep, yep. And this is called yellow map lichen. And it's pretty widespread. It's not just in the western Rocky Mountains, also high elevation exposed areas. What I found interesting when I looked it up was that it's one of the very slowest growing lichens there is. And it's actually used to date things in something which I didn't realize called lichenography, which can be used to date the rocks around it. So,
I don't think
according,
Jason is here, but I assume the ones that grow on rocks are probably the slowest of the growing.
yeah, I think
Matt?
so for sure, because they have to degrade this, the rock surface, and to get nutrients. And that's, of course, how I guess, how a lot of the land was colonized that originally when it first surfaced geologically. And so this is yellow map lichen. It's different than the Pleopsidium. And let's see if there's another yellow one. How about Candelaria, just for
Yeah,
color?
that's definitely yellow. Yes.
Candelaria rosulans. This one's a little less crustose. It's not fruticose, but it's little bunched up in these little grape-like clusters, intensely yellow. You could see it from a real far distance. And this is called sagebrush gold speck. It doesn't form those cobblestones. It forms these little blobs. And this was on a vertical rock. Some of them are on more horizontal rocks. I'm not sure why. Probably very particular requirements. Um, so that's Candelaria. There's a lot of species of Candelaria lichens, but this one is pretty common out there. It's called and of course this is well, not of course, but this area is very open, and it's a juniper, um, uh, sagebrush, both big and little sagebrush, which are, I think they're Artemisia species, and there's a lot of one-seeded juniper out there, which is
The
unique.
white,
Yes, sir.
the white stuff, is that also a different kind of lichen or is that dried out?
Yes. No, it's a different kind of lichen, but I didn't ID it. I
Okay.
don't know. I don't know what it is. You can see if you look at a big rock wall, you can see like 5, 6 species just in 4 feet. It's quite a lichenologist's heaven, I would assume.
Are these
Um,
all yellow because they're like the cyanobacteria kind of lichens, or are they uh, not the I don't the algae isn't yellow.
yeah, I don't know the answer to that. I think it's probably a secondary fungal metabolite, like you just said, not the algae that's growing in it. And whether the yellow is there for UV protection. I mean, I suspect there's some of that. You can see this sort of bright yellow if you're up in the northeast coast on the rocks right at the coast. You'll see somewhat similar species. So it may be a thing to prevent DNA damage. I'm not really sure, Chris. Um, I should try to look that up. I didn't about the yellow pigment. Um, yeah,
The first two. So I don't know these lichens. I don't know lichens very well, actually, but these are things we wouldn't find in Pennsylvania or probably New
no,
Jersey. But the
no,
first one that started with a P, I think,
the
was a
Pleopsidium flavum.
lichen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you point out some aspects of this that make it a different species than the following one that was kind of a smaller photo? But this photo is really good, so there might be some things you can point out here. Yeah, as opposed to this one. Okay,
Yeah,
I think
this
I see
one.
some differences now. These are
Yeah.
the cobbles are flat, are really flat.
Yeah, and these have these black. I mean, I saw quite a few of these. They have those black areas within them. I'm not sure what
Oh.
that is, but the other one much less so. And the cobbles are sort of, much flatter. not as raised up from the surface. They tended to be much smaller also. Yeah, when you get there, there's quite a few of these yellow ones, Dave. And until you get online and start looking, you're like really confused. Like a lot of different things come up. There really are a lot of lichen species out there.
Yeah, we had a similar experience years back in Glacier National Park, the East Glacier, that's sort of like a high plains desert.
Yes.
There were lots of really colorful yellow and orange lichens that Karen managed to identify some of them. I don't remember the names. I mean, I have a bunch of old photos
Yeah,
and
yeah.
posts. Mm-hmm.
That would be fun to see sometime. I have been up there hiking years ago, and that you're absolutely right. And there's these huge rock faces on the east side of Glacier National Park, over where Glacier Lodge is. If you take those red jitneys that they take you up on, and you can hike very close to the road. You don't have to hike far, and you'll see these beautiful rock faces with many types of lichens. And so, Sue, I think there was a gray one. I think how about the
Is this the gray one? No.
Acrospora strigata? Acarospora strigata. It's called the hoary cobblestone lichen or cracked lichen. Should have it.
Yep. Yeah. I just.
There it is. This was pretty common, and this has apparently a worldwide distribution. You can find it up very high latitudes. So it's not particularly a Rocky Mountain Southwest desert. Obviously, there's no yellow color. It also kind of has that cobblestoney appearance. I guess that's why they give it that common name. But it's very, very crustose. You could see some little blobs of yellow lichen in amongst there, which I didn't identify because there's just so many of these yellow ones. But yeah, so this is Acarospora, which is seem to have a lot of species in the genus worldwide.
So how
But
did you identify it to species?
well, by searching around and trying to localize to northern New Mexico, you kind of start to, you know, eliminate things that are strictly only found in Baffin Island in the Arctic, things like that. So that's obviously I'm not a lichenologist, so maybe it's just the genus, but that's as close as I could get. And this is, like I said, these are very common, so people have put them up. They're very, very. These aren't unusual lichens out there. If you were to
I'm
go
just
there,
wondering whether iNaturalist was able to guess what they were based on your locale.
iNaturalist had no problem really based on the locale. It came
Okay.
up fairly, and then I went into other sources to kind of, I don't like to just rely on that, but um, and the last one is also not a particularly yellowish one. That's that sagebrush rim lichen, Protoparmeliopsis garovaglii.
I must always get stuck.
This one's really cool.
For some reason I don't see it yet on my screen, Hunter. You must be on a computer. I'm on an old iPhone 13. There we go. Yeah, I thought this was cool. I mean, they form these, these anastomosing river-like clusters, which is kind of pretty. It's very slightly greenish yellow, but I don't know, if my, I mean, I would suspect that these things are in crevices so that it's where the moisture is in these rocks. I mean, that's what I suspect, but I'm not 100% positive. But it's interesting that some of the others don't form these ribbons; they just stay in these little circular rosettes. So it's mostly for interest, just to have something different. This is called sagebrush rim lichen, and that's yeah. I don't know a lot about it. I just thought it was pretty and thought I'd present it. It would be interesting for the cold, dreary winter day out here in southeast Pennsylvania. And Dave, I hope you could dig up those old photos from Glacier that of the lichen. That would be kind of fun to see.
You know what? If we do a Taxonomy Tuesday on lichen, I'll definitely dig those up because I think I put the observations on Mushroom Observer, and if I didn't, I will do it. So yeah, I have the photos someplace.
Are they really? Are they digital photos?
Yeah, I think that was when we were there in 2013. I was using a camera by then. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have good photos of those, or at least decent photos. Your photos are really nice.
And also the rocks are kind of pretty. They have a variety of rocks there. I mean, there are, as you can see, when you saw a few of those, I forget which was the background. It might have been a Pleopsidium. That's a volcanic rock with those, yeah, there, yeah. And some of them are granitic and some of them are calcitic. There's quite a variety of rocks in the gorge. This is the rim of the gorge, as I said. And it's quite a nice trail. It's not too far from Taos. If you go west of Taos about 5 miles, there's the High Bridge. It's one of the highest bridges in the US. I think it's the longest high bridge. And it's quite amazing. Unfortunately, you used to be able to walk across it. And it was kind of scary to look down a couple thousand feet, And but they had so many suicides that they closed it. You cannot walk there anymore, which is a shame. It's quite a thrill to stand in the middle of the bridge and look down at the Rio Grande River. So you can't do that, but you can drive over it. And it's it's quite an amazing geologic site to see that. When you get down toward Albuquerque, the gorge is not, it's not steep and it's not carved, it's much shallower, so it's not as interesting. And then, of course, when you get back to Big Bend, I guess I've never been there. It might be more interesting in some of those areas. I'm not sure. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Really nice finds. So glad you shared those.
Is this Toby, Proton Man? Male? No, who is it? I have no idea.
Yeah, that was Toby.
Toby, yeah, I see Toby. Toby, would you like to go next?
Sure. We just had these mushrooms that look like a pile of Irish potatoes, and I'm pretty sure that they're probably wine caps, but they weren't wine colored on the gills, so I wasn't positive. And they just come up whenever it's precipitating, but they normally don't come up during the winter when it's this cold out. So just wanted to check before we tried to eat them.
It's not.
Can we see the first picture again?
Yeah.
Yeah, so wine caps usually have a annulus, a double ring, and this doesn't have a ring. So I mean, it could be another Stropharia, maybe, but
I think this is Lepista, which is now
I would
Colibia.
agree. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that being in the photo being taken in direct sunlight is throwing off the color a little bit. But structurally and habitat wise and time of year all suggest Lepista. probably Lepista nuda.
These
Well,
love to
Polybia
grow
nuda.
in leaf litter, the way you see it here, with all that mycelium at the base as well. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks.
definitely not Stropharia.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, spore print would be sealing the deal.
Yeah, take if these are still available, try to get a spore print on a non-absorbent white surface. The prints for Lepistas are really light but not white. So if you take it on black, it's going to look like it's white. But if you take it on white, you will see the contrast between the pale pigmented spores of the Lepista and the white background. And the reason why I say non-absorbent is because when you take a print on paper, which a lot of people suggest, is I think it's a bad idea. Often the paper will draw moisture out of the mushroom, and then that affects the color of what you end up seeing.
Thank you. I'll do that.
Okay, anybody want to tell her how to cook them once she gets the confirmation?
Oh, blewits. Blewits are really good. They have a strong flavor. I like to use them in ways that spread the flavor out. I put them in chicken stuffing. Um, I chop them up and make a duxelle, which is just like chopped up the mushrooms pretty small and cook them in a skillet until most of the liquid is evaporated. And then I put them in garlic, roasted garlic mashed potatoes. That's really good. And Blewits make the best cream of mushroom soup that I know. And also, but before you eat any of them, I would say you want to make sure of your identification. Um, Genus Hebeloma produces late season mushrooms that are not all that different looking than Blewits, but the spore print for Hebeloma is going to be decidedly brown, not real dark brown, but decidedly brown, like a light brown.
And Dave, keeping on that, make sure you know the ID topic there. Are all blewits edible here? I mean,
Well,
that's
I think
probably
so.
nuda. That's probably nuda that we just saw, but I think there's probably a couple other species to consider based on the color, right?
Well, let's just say that they are so similar looking, these other species, that because given that blewits are popular edible, if there was one particular species that was toxic, we would have known by now because people eat these, assuming they're blewits. Like I said, you probably want to really make sure. A Cortinarius is another thing that can look like blewits. In fact, I once took to a meeting of our local club a large purple Cortinarius mushroom and a large young purple blewit, and passed them around and asked people if they thought they were the same species, and all of them said yes. And then I pointed out that on the Cortinarius there was some brown spore print deposited on the collapsed cortina on the stipe. But that was not the only difference. Blewits have sort of gills that are pretty close together and sort of neat looking, like these. Cortinarius tend to have gills that are a little more widely spaced and not as sort of neatly arranged. But anyway, yeah, all of the former lepistas that grow in this part of the world, I believe, are known to be edible. Another one is Lepista arena, but that one's a little bit tricky because it's white, so it's easy to confuse with a number of large Clatosae, or Leucopaxillus or a few other things. Okay, yeah, I've never some. They say that some people have trouble with blewits, so indigestion. So maybe try just a little bit at first. Once you convince yourself of the identification. Um, it's always good to try to get some photos in. It's really hard to strike a balance between too much light and not enough light. But direct sunlight and strong shade, which we have a little bit of each here, either of those ambient conditions tend to throw off the color and or the detail of what you're trying to photograph.
Thank you. I'll
So,
try keeping the coloration a little bit less in the sun, and I will try your recipes if they're blewits. Thank you very much.
yeah, and what you can do is harvest one or two of them and just take them into different spots with like not real heavy shade, but where there's like maybe a tree toward the edge of the shade, under a tree where the ambient light is pretty strong, not that far away, and then try to point the mushroom, the feature you're trying to photograph, toward where the ambient light is, and then you have to make sure try to make sure your camera's not going to make a shadow on the mushroom. There are little tricks you can learn, and it's best to just take a lot of pictures until you figure some of these things out.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Certainly, you're welcome. I hope they're blewits, and if you have any other questions, just maybe send to Lila, and if she doesn't have an answer, she can send them to me. Or there's other people in the club as well. So nice. I'm pretty sure they're blewits.
Well, if I eat them and die, then I'll put Mac on the call and he'll let you know whether they're blewits.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, I'll what's your address? I'm going to mail you a waiver form.
We'll take it a little bit at a time.
All right, thank you, Toby. Hunter, would you like to go next?
Sure. Yeah, I have some finds, but I haven't had much time as usual to look into them too much. But I think I know at least the genuses on everything. And nothing too exciting. These I believe are Oudemansiella. So these are rooting gilled fungi that have a tap root that it goes deep down into the ground and then is attached to wood, I believe. And for the first time, well, not for the first time, but I did dig them up. And so it's very hard to kind of get the whole taproot out. And I was able to do it on both of these. And you can see that on the next picture, the taproot is like pretty much almost as long as the rest of the mushroom. So this was cool. And I, of course, tried to bring it back to the foray, and I didn't have a little box long enough in my little collection box. So I kind of stuck it in this loop on my backpack, and I made it all the way back, and then I put it in the back of the car, and then when I got back to the foray, I couldn't find it, and then I found it like a couple of days later, and so I wasn't able to show off my complete excavation of a pretty long Oudemansiella. So I think that's what this is in terms of species. I would love any feedback if anyone would be able to say more with this little evidence. I have no microscopy or anything else, so that may be all we have to say.
No, it's a good. I mean, it's a good find. You got the whole thing. That the biggest one that was laying on the log. How big was that? Because these don't look like the small the small Oudemansiellas.
Yeah,
Is
this
that
one was, I would say mm, probably of over a foot total.
okay?
Yeah. So
Including the taproot?
yeah, including the taproot. So maybe an inch or two over a foot max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good work getting the whole even thinned out taproot right at I always get like the top of it, and then you have to imagine the very bottom of it. So that's good work.
Same. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you lost the mushroom, but you still have the photos.
Mhm.
And look at that's a really good one. Look at that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've
Got it
never
all the way
gotten one
down to
out of the
where it
ground like
goes
that.
up almost like a thread.
Is the
That's
one with a
really cool.
really long root like this the radicata
Well,
species?
it's a
They
section
all
radicata. There's like 5 species. Furfuraceae is probably the most common. Megalospora is usually a small one. Limenospora has spores that are shaped like lemons. Then there's like 2 brown ones. There's one that stains brown, or a yellow one. You really need to do microscopy, except for the one that stains brown. When you find that one, you can usually tell just because of the brown stains what that species is.
So this extra long one is not automatically becomes radicata. Has
Well,
good.
there's a whole bunch of them there's like 5 of them that do that, and they are grouped together in a classification called Oudemansiella section radicate. So those are the ones that radicate. Um, there are other Oudemansiellas, mainly subtropical species, that look nothing at all like these. They
yeah.
grow
I
like
would
twigs and have some of them have veils and they're
yeah I would love
delicate.
to find mucosis is one of those, right? I would
Yeah,
love to see that
mucosis
one.
is one of those. Right. Yeah. Yeah. The spores on all Oudemansiella are really big and wide. I think that's one unifying character. Some mycologists still put these radicating ones into Hymenopeltis,
Well,
which is like
Dave,
an alternate genus.
I was just about to bring that up. I think uh, there's a movement back to Hymenopeltis, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I've noticed that as well. And some like Michael Quebec is using I think they're using Hymenopeltis, not Cerula. I think it's Hymenopeltis they're using. Um, I'm guessing that there might be, genetically speaking, all of these so-called Oudemansiellas are probably close enough that you can justify having them in the same genus. But I would guess that because of the real um, sharp difference in morphology, that might be why some mycologists are favoring having 2 genera.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with the actual genetics of the thing, but this one in particular looks like it. Is this kind of a yellowish cap, right? And we got to the size. It's not one of the super big ones.
Yeah, it's tan with a little yellow tinge. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of an in-betweener, Furfuraceae and some of these other ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Furfuraceae usually has ornamentation on the stipe, like grayish sort of
Oh,
pattern, almost like a
I think
patterning.
I think
like
you
a
could see
Certainly
that.
not always.
I
like a
think you could
snake.
see that on the last photo, on the one in the back. Yeah, kind of not scales so much, but like something going on.
Yeah, like
Mm.
flattened sort of patches, grayish, sort of like almost looking like subflocos or whatever, but flattened.
Yep.
I'm not
This
sure
isn't
what adjective to use.
this isn't the photo I was referring to,
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm trying to figure out.
There's
What
no
do you mean by
ornamentation there.
the one?
the one that we were when I said the previous one to whatever photo we were
Oh,
talking about, the
Yeah.
one that we were looking at before that.
do they get kind of a
This one.
chevron?
This one?
chevron design?
Nope. I think sometimes Furfuracea can get like a sort of a chevron design. I think that's just because the stipe is coated with this sort of a-pressed felty stuff. And if it expands enough, it just sort of pulls it apart. And I think I'm going to look. I think Furfuracea gets the chevron pattern. I'm going to check that.
Yeah, and these definitely get taller and bigger, some of them, and these are not the biggest ones I've seen, but underground it's the longest one I've ever gotten, I've ever dug out. And they are also considered edible. The only ones I've ever eaten I found to be very, very bitter and unpleasant, but apparently there are some that are good to eat.
Oh, really? You detect bitter in the? Did you eat only the caps? Because it's only the caps that are good.
Maybe not. Probably I ate the whole thing. Probably.
It's only the cap that's good. The stem is too fibrous. It's probably hard to digest. And I
Okay.
don't know what the stem would taste like, but the caps are kind of have see I detect not much flavor at all in these
Yeah, I got a really unpleasant flavor, but not in
oh,
a particular specimen, but some growing in grass last year. Yeah.
well that
Now,
might be that one of the species is bitter. I
I
don't know.
was
The
Yeah.
going
ones
to
I've eaten are probably almost always Furfuracea, and I don't eat
yeah,
them all that often. But
I
they're
was
pretty
going to
good to
ask
like
that
throw
question.
into a stir fry because they have nice texture.
Cool. I'll keep trying. What were you trying to say, Brandon?
No, I was just going to ask that question. Or, maybe the ones that you ate, Hunter, because I ate these one time, and it was the most like pristine specimen ever. And I was sure that it was something in the Furfuraceae group, and that was the only and any Oudemansiella I ever ate, and it was delicious. I thought it was fantastic, but
Mm.
it was like the perfect mushroom to eat.
I will definitely try again. And I mean, what I ate was really fresh and in good condition. So maybe it was one of the other species. But yeah, I'll try again. I'm glad to hear others liked it. So okay.
Okay, mushroom expert says this stem can develop a snakeskin or chevron patterning on Furfuracea.
Okay. So these probably aren't that then, I would say.
They could be because sometimes, I mean, I
Maybe.
think that I have identified some rooters as Oudemansiella furfuracea that didn't have just have like a little bit of gray coating or
Okay.
not much at all on the stipe. But I don't know. These are pretty subtle. They're you need to do microscopy and measure the spores and all that. And I'm not sure if there are differences in the hymeneal cystidia, but I think all of them have like really notable hymeneal cystidia, like pleurocystidia that are really big and interestingly shaped.
I didn't
If
Yeah,
think.
yeah,
Go
okay.
ahead.
well, they all do have interesting hymeneal cystidia. They all kind of overlap, and they're highly variable. I think having tried to identify a ton of these, it comes down to the spores, right?
I would
And
say the spore dimensions are the most important thing, and the shape.
the
The shape
shape,
also.
yeah. But there's also some overlap there as well. But every now and then you can get like, okay, it fits this box, this box, this box, and this box, so it's that species, even though this other thing is, you know, iffy. So they're tough to ID, even with microscopy, but they're fun.
Thank you. Go on to the next one.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I wonder if how much regionally the species vary, because those were from down south, and I haven't had a chance to look, but maybe that maybe there are more species maybe like different parts of the country, different species.
Yeah, that's a good point, Hunter, because I think a lot of the species that we're talking about, at least, Dave and I are getting from Myco, Quebec, more or less. And I don't know how many species that occur in Quebec occur also down south, but
Right. Yeah.
Oh, you see here, this is iNaturalist complex Oudemansiella radicata. What they mean there is Oudemansiella section radicata or radicate. I'm not sure that radicata is even an acceptable species name anymore. I believe that
I don't
when
think it is.
there was an Oudemansiella radicata, and it's gone through all these different genera, Colibia, Zerula, Hymenopellis. These were all lumped. They were all lumped together into a single species concept, and I think that is where the radicata comes from. I can look it up. I'm going to look that up now.
Somebody want us to start this AI companion? I haven't read anything about it. Seems to suggest that someone has asked for that.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I got a pop-up saying someone has asked us to start the AI companion, one of our participants. If anybody's familiar with what it's going to do to us.
No, I think they mean usually the AI companion means it writes everything down. It translates into
Oh,
writing.
you mean they've renamed that? Okay.
Well, it's different for every program. I don't know what it's called in Zoom.
I know
Okay,
they
well,
just
it was never called AI companion before. It was just text.
Don't do it.
they must have
Oh,
just
too late.
updated this thing because my Zoom looks all different, and the little AI companion icon is like up in the corner, so it's like begging you to touch it. So like anybody could have just touched that thing by
Oh, okay.
mistake.
All right. Yeah, because anybody can turn on their text to speech to text. I don't think it's required that we have to do it all for everyone because it does cover up the screen. Um, okay, we move on to the next one for Hunter.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah. So this was also down in Mississippi, in this swamp area. And it's, I think, Lentinus species, but I don't know which one. And I have so little to say. I apologize. But do I have spores on this one? I don't think I do.
Only one picture.
Okay, yeah, this is it. This is it. I think the stem has a kind of a hairy nature to it. Um, and it grows on this wood, as you see, and it's not an oyster. The gills are just not decurrent enough, I don't believe, to be a pluteus. And so I'm thinking Lentinus. INAT also said that, and we brought some in at the foray that were the really large, and somewhat similar.
Anybody else wants to make a guess if this is Lentinus? I'm looking for anything that I thought Lentinus was.
So the
The
stems
gills look so neat.
should be very firm.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, very like really
rubbery.
hard to break, rubbery, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think this is, well, Lentinellus are one of the allied genera. Um, Neolentinus. I don't think this is Neolentinus though. Neolentinus what is it? Lepides? Lepidites? I forget. Let me look.
Oh,
But
that's
I don't think this is that.
the train wrecker, right?
Train wrecker, yes. I don't
Yeah,
think
yeah.
this is that.
I don't think it's that. No.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's different. And I think this may be also changing. This might have been in Pleurotus maybe before, and now it's Lentinus. But
I was waiting to chime in. I mean, do we consider Pleurotus levis here?
Yeah, I think you're probably right. We can't just dismiss this as not being that. I mean, it sort of looks more like a Lentinus or Lentinellus to me. But
I think that species may be moving to Lentinus or Lentinus.
That very well could be. My big thing for that one, do the Lentinus, however we want to say it, or Lentinellus, do they universally have kind of serrate gill edges?
oh yeah, good question. Most of them do.
And this does not appear.
Yeah, the gills look pretty even.
That's what I was
Yeah,
thinking. The gills are neat, and the stipes are they seem like that furriness, like the
Yeah, if you look at the base of the one on the left, it's pretty like strigos, I guess you would call it.
Yeah, toward the base, and that's actually a Pleurotus levis trait.
Okay. Yep.
There's no way to zoom in on this, is there, to see the gill edges?
That is as zoomed as I can get.
Okay.
But I don't see anything from the side. I mean, you can see enough of these on the side that we don't really see any serrations.
Yeah, they start out sometimes kind of small. The little.
How about the forking? Is there anything about the forking on the margin?
Yeah, those might just be short gills. It's hard to tell.
No, they look pretty forked to me. Up here, it
It's
looks like
tricky.
short gills. You're right, but the other ones on the right seemed like they were forked, but
Yeah,
the other ones
sometimes
on the
short
left are
gills
short.
will stick to the larger gills, and then it looks like a fork.
Okay.
But it's hard to tell. You know, it's hard to tell from what we see here. Yeah, you know, I think Pleurotus levis also has kind of a pretty firm stalk also.
It does.
Yeah.
It's also
Okay.
very, very hairy. As soon as you touch it, it's like hairier than anything else I normally would expect.
Yeah, on the stipe, especially the base.
Yeah. Yeah, and it looks very hairy to me, as well as being very big. But I just don't see as much
And you know
curvature
what?
on the top.
Some of the Lentinus species or Lentinellus, I mix these up all the time. A lot of them have hairs on the cap also, and especially along the margin of the cap, you'll see hairs. What's that one? Arcularis. That's a different color usually.
So when I Googled Pleurotus levis, Mushroom Expert has Lentinus levis.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think we're talking about the same thing.
Oh, so that has been moved to Lentinus?
Not
No,
necessarily.
the other way.
No,
Well,
I think
Hunter,
it.
what did you propose this as, Lentinus species wise?
I didn't, but
Oh.
I think that's what it is, because so it was also brought in at this foray, and I think Jay Justice was. I mean, I'm not 100% sure it was the same thing that was brought in at the foray, but it was very similar, very large, and I mean larger than this, very firm stipe. It was a lot bigger, but it was real similar, and he's calling it Lentinus now, not Pleurotus.
Yeah, I think you're right. It
Levis.
moved to Lentinus. But once we start thinking levis, don't we have to have thought about Dryanus?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's similar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
Um,
different. That's
Dryanis has a partial veil, and it usually leaves a little bit of a remnant on the stalk.
Okay.
And it's also usually very, very white, I think.
it is a conversation to have if we think this is Pleurotus levis slash Dryanis. Uh, uh, but if we want to put it down to one of those two species, levis or Dryanis, there's a whole different conversation there, I believe. Dave, everything you said is correct. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm just interested now in knowing if this has been moved, but I can check that on my own later.
Me too. Let us know.
I would call this, I would call that Pleurotus levis, whether it's been moved to Lentinus or Lentinellus or something. Um, yeah, I would call it levis.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
That means it's edible, right?
I don't.
Who knows?
Who knows? Okay. Okay.
Okay. Okay. So I not called these Rhizopogon occidentalis. I found them in Mississippi in a on top of this very it's sort of like a mini Grand Canyon type place where the sides of this canyon are beautiful red and orange and just beautiful coloration in the rock. And this was up on the top, a very sandy soil, and I'm just going with what I not said. I have not had time to do much more. So, but it's got uh, that pink edge, which I think I've seen in other Rhizopogon. But anyone have a thought on it?
Well, all I can say is I agree with the genus. I don't know these species all that well, but it looks like you found it under pines.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I found some Rhizopogon under some 2 or 3 needle pines last fall. And I think I did arrive at a species name, but I forget what it was. It may have been occidentalis. I'm not sure.
Cool. Yeah, I think these were probably um, 3 needle pines. They have lolly pines. Is that right? Loblolly is one of them. And then what was the other one? There was a lot of, I can't think of it right now, but yeah. So yeah, so that was cool to find that. I wish I did more with it. So if I wanted to do more with it, would I put this cut surface face down on a slide? Or
Yep.
yeah. So cut it and then put that open cut face down.
Yep.
Great. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't positive, and I actually did to do it. I don't think I got to actually look at the spores. So, but I actually did do that. I don't have a spore shot, right, Sue? That's it.
Yes, just
Did
the
you
two.
did you notice when you handled these things if they stained it in any way? Like did they stain that reddish brown color on the one in the center there?
Yeah, I did not notice.
Hmm.
Yeah, but it looks like they might have. Yeah, they kind of look toasted. kind of interesting.
Yeah, I find a lot of Rhizopogon that, you know, I call occidentalis a lot of the time, but sometimes when they say in red, I call them rosea, I think it
Oh,
is.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think some of the other ones I found were pinker on the outside too, and maybe I called them that. And
Yeah.
the outer wall was thicker, um, and also pink, but a lot thicker on others I found. So okay, got that. And um, see what else. Oh, oh yeah. So this was the only bolete I found down there, and looking at the stipe, which you can see on the next picture, it really one more. It really looked like, or reminded me of Suillus weaveri. And I know the dots don't look really red here, but when I was looking at it, it did, and that was sort of my first guess as to what it was. But the cap wasn't sticky like weaveri, and the color of the cap was more orange, like you see here. It looked different, and I've never found this species before. But do you think I've got it right?
Igor, are you around?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I think this could well be hirtellus. Occasionally, when you slice these things, they do stain blue.
I wish
Um,
it had done so.
KOH would stain a pellicle, kind of a purplish magenta color.
Mm.
Yeah, these things grow with Pinus rigida in New Jersey. And when young, they have caps like that, but then eventually, I think those scales wear off, and it's just like a kind of a dingy, pale yellow, glabrous pellicle in age. So yeah, I cannot think of anything else that would be a better proposal here, and the color of the pore surface also matches. So
Thank
yeah,
you. Okay, cool.
probably growing under a loblolly pine in there
Mm-hmm. I think so. Yeah.
because we don't have it in New Jersey, but I think it hybridizes with the pitch pine, and we have hybrids maybe in New Jersey.
Mm. Interesting. Cool. Okay. I am. And this was INET's uh, ID on this. I think it may be right, though. I actually looked into it a little bit, but I don't know. I don't know my Hergrophoris well at all. Especially the white ones.
I don't think this is Hygrophorus.
Oh, okay. What do you think it is?
I think it's a Tricholoma columbetta.
Hmm. Okay. Have to look into that. Columbetta.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
columbetta.
gill attachment looks more like Tricholoma notched.
Yeah, I think Peck called it subresplendens, and it's a synonym. Columbetta is European and older name, and we do have it here based on ITS sequences that do match the material from Europe. So
Mm.
Hygrophorus sordidus and subsordidus have the current gills, and a much more robust, kind of a heavy, clunky-looking species. So yeah, I think this is definitely a Tricholoma as
Okay.
opposed to Hygrophorus.
Thank-
Besides, I forget which is which, but in the pine barrens we find this absordidus, and it grows with the pitch pine, whereas these things I think are oak associated. Tricholoma columbetta, it's deciduous.
Okay. Yeah, there was I think live oak. This was in that same swamp area. There was some pine, but it was leaning towards deciduous as I got towards where these mushrooms were, leaning more that way.
What kind of leaves do we see?
I think those are
Live
live
oak.
oak.
That's what
So,
live oak looks like. Okay.
yeah, yeah, so yeah,
The
right.
species you were just talking about.
Not like a oak leaf. Yeah, that we're used to. Right. Yeah, it's confusing. Yep. Okay. Cool. Thank you so much.
I think that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Hunter, very much.
My pleasure. Thank you all.
I think that is that all the emails. Does anybody else have anything to share?
I could share a few additional ones if we wanted to, but I could save them too. I'm not going to be here next week, um, but I could save them or I could share them.
I
Well, if you're
could
not gonna be,
email a few of these Glacier National Park lichen observations. I found them on Mushroom Observer. I can email links if you want, if anybody's interested.
Sure.
Okay, give me 5 minutes or so.
Okay. You want me to email my thing too?
yeah.
Oh,
Why
Yeah,
don't you
sure, go ahead. It's only
come?
it's only a little after 8.
Yeah, we
okay.
got a long time to go.
Okay. Yeah, I think I have it pretty quick. I can get it right to you. Okay. It's sent. Yeah, I'm not going to be here next week, but if we get into doing topics, maybe in 3 or 4 weeks, I would be willing to do like a short intro on poisonous mushrooms if we wanted to do one on poisonous. But not for like 3 or 4 weeks. Okay. So these I'm pretty certain are one of the Xeromphalina species. It was growing on some treated wood actually, which seems kind of weird. I believe it was old treated, like an old treated almost railroad tie or something. Um, or I think it was. Um, so this was in Louisiana actually, near the Mississippi border where the foray was held, and they were really tiny, real small, and I'm just pretty certain they're Xeromphalina. We've looked at them before. I know Dave's shown them a few times. There's Campanella is one of them, and then there's another one, and I'm not sure which one this is, but um, I'm showing it because I found it. That's about all I have to say. They're pretty, especially on the underside, and I think I have the ID correct.
I just like how that stipe hits it where it hits the gills. It is just that transition for the dark stipe. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've definitely seen prettier, pictures of it, but yeah, it is really nice looking on the underside for sure, and more decurrent looking than the picture suggests in general, I think, or more sort of funnel shaped than it suggests usually, I think. But yeah, that's that, and not much more to say. I don't know which species. Have to look into it, but we could go on. Or Oh, yeah, this I was
Ah,
hoping to get maybe some confirmation or discussion over these. These were in Mississippi they have a long distance trail called the Black Creek Trail. It's, like a Appalachian or Ice Age trail, long trail. Um, and these were growing right at the in this pine litter, but real close to a down log. And yeah, there is like some yellow there. Um, and unfortunately, I have no microscopy. I'm just going really with INATS ID. And so, have people seen this before? Would they think it's Antheloma undatum?
do we think it's Entoloma to begin with? The gills are attached. Other than that, what makes it an Entoloma?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because I'm used to
This
seeing,
was
look for the
under
pink.
pine.
Yeah, it makes
It looks like Cantharellula umbonata. Maybe. Let's look at the gills and see if they're repeatedly forked.
They were definitely forked on the edges, on the margin here.
Yeah.
But I don't know if repeated, you mean on multiple times on the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I also look
Maybe
like they're
not.
serrated, but that could be just
Maybe not.
One of
old.
those other images really showed the forking.
The second one? Yeah, these are all.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at
Yeah,
that.
they're double forked. Yeah.
There's a little bit of reddish brown staining too on the gills on the other photo. I don't know. That's what these look like, but I mean, where were these found? Down south somewhere?
Yeah, in Mississippi.
So it might be
Cantharella,
something I just don't know.
what were you
The
saying?
the gills, look at the gill attachments. A little bit funny. It's see how it kind of just the gills abruptly stop. They don't fade out going down the stipe. I don't know. Let me look on Michael Quebec and see what kind of photos they have of this.
Do you know Antheloma undatum? Or is that one you've heard of? Or
Is color true on these things? That
yeah.
grayish, bluish.
Yes. Pretty much.
I think they're Cantharellula umbonata, in which case the spores would be white. And if it's an entoloma, of course, if you really, really want to tell, then you would get some spores and scope them, and you wouldn't need very many, just a few
Yes.
spores on a slide, but you know about that.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I
This
think
looks like
it looks like what
Cantharellula.
yes. Yeah, I agree as I look at that. Thank you. Great.
So Dave, you're saying Cantharellus is the
Cantharellula. These were named a
Cantharellula.
long time ago. The genus was erected because it was thought that these were related to Cantharellus chanterelles because of the forked gills that are decurrent. But in
Okay.
fact, I think these are in the Hygropheraceae, so they're not at all related to chanterelles. But the name Cantharellula basically means a little chanterelle, a little Cantharellus.
Mm.
I'm trying to
I
find it
think. I think.
under Mushroom Expert, and it's Cantor, Cantarel. Yeah,
Canth. Can't
TH.
AR. Let me, you know what? I have it on Michael Quebec. Let me just send you the link.
Yeah, I'm not seeing I see it come up on a lot of places, but not Mushroom Expert either. So maybe it's not in Illinois or Midwest.
I find it here. Usually I find it in moss, but generally with pines in moss under pines usually.
Yeah.
But I guess it doesn't have to be in moss. But let me show you here. There's a lot of photos on Micro-Quebec, and some of them look an awful lot like this. One thing that was bothering me a little bit was the thick stipes. Usually, I'm not used to seeing these with thick stipes, but if you see, I just put into the chat a link to Micro-Quebec, and there's a few photos that show examples with rather thick stipes and with gills that kind of terminate rather abruptly on their way down the stalk. Now, those are really thin stipes there. There's a lot. Oh, see, those are a little thicker. I think there's one or two other. There should be a lot of photos.
Yeah, I wanted to see what close up on the gills, but I don't quite see them that way.
Yeah, if you click on Micro-Quebec, if you just click on a photo and then just like use your mouse or whatever, why use a mouse?
Okay.
Yeah, to do that. Yeah, you can do that. You can zoom in really well.
All right, there are
you can
forks
see
there.
there
Fork there.
the
See, the
repeated
forking is
forks,
okay.
the brown
Matches.
stain on the gills. This one right here, though, the gills kind of don't terminate as abruptly as what we saw in Hunter's photo, but I don't think that's that important. I think there's a few other photos here that show this sort of that one you just passed by. There.
That's
See,
this one?
there's ones that have the more or less abrupt termination coming down the stalk. So
Yeah.
I think that's what you have.
As I look at the previous proposed species name, the gill color is all wrong. This is much more right, even though it has a similar look. This lighter gills.
Does the Xanthoria have forked gills? I'm
uh
guessing it does not have repeatedly forked gills.
yeah, maybe not. Let's see. Well,
What's the
the
species
right
name?
undatum.
UN?
Yeah, I
Let me look.
believe. Yeah, it does have forked gills too. It does. Or it's just short gills. Yeah, it is hard to tell sometimes if it's forked or just short gills in between. But I'd like to hear what you think.
Micro-Quebec does not mention forked gills for that species of Entoloma.
Okay, so
Yeah, I have it. I'm looking at it right now. Blades, adnate, then arched, decurrent, moderately crowded to crowded, grayish to brown, then pinkish with entire edges, concolorous with the faces. Translation: adnate, then arched, decurrent, moderately crowded to crowded, grayish to brown, then pinkish with straight edges, and the faces are the same color as the edges. So I don't think what I'm looking at on Micro-Quebec here does not look like what you have really.
Yeah.
It looks a little bit like it.
right.
It
But
looks like these guys have a lot of short gills, and the short gills do tend to full to look like forks. And
yeah.
in fact, this might be an aspect of mushroom identification that AI has not yet learned on INAT.
Mhm.
It's between forked gills and a lot of short gills.
Yes.
I wonder.
Yeah, could be. Okay, well, this is great. I love finding. I mean, I love going back and making a correction in INET. It makes me happy. Yay! Thank you.
I learned a new genus, at least for me.
Yay!
By the way, those little guys are really good edibles, but you need like 50
Oh, really?
of them, for a side dish for two people.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty small.
Yeah. Okay, that's
But you have to watch out for some of the small Clatosobi.
okay.
Clatosobi truliiformis, that looks a fair amount like, and I think that one's in a different genus now, actually. Clatosobi is getting sort of cut apart, and some of them have gone to Colibia, and there's also some other generic. But anyway, we've got this reddish brown thing here now.
Yeah, so someone last week, I had hoped that this was in the group of photos that I sent last week, but for some reason it didn't make it. And then someone else showed something really similar. This was very, very tiny, but right near it were clearly Lacaria. And I think what we were looking at last week was it was a Cortinarius, I believe, and I don't know if anyone remembers. Maybe it was it?
Semi-Sigornius.
Yeah, I
What was it?
wasn't here last week. These do not look like Acarospores right here.
Oh, good. Okay, good.
They
Okay.
don't really look like Cortinarius spores either. There are some strange species of Tubaria that are very uncommon, and one of them looks a little bit like this.
Mm.
And I've got posts online of a strange Tubaria that looks kind of like this, but I think the gills were a little bit more broadly attached on mine. These are kind of notched. Those gills do look like Cortinarius gills, really. Maybe it is a court.
Does anyone remember the court that we were looking at last week that was really small and red and like this? I thought it was really similar.
I thought it was the Semi-Sigornius.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Could it be that?
No, so the semi-sanguineous types and semi-sanguineous sensu stricta does not occur in North America, I believe, or if it does, it's really, really rare. It might actually. I think they found some in North America, but it's really, really rare. So there's Cortinarius tinctorum and Cortinarius, one that starts with O, ominosis or something. I just had discussions about it about a week ago. Those are not completely red. So there's
Yeah, that's
also
what we
these
were
like
talking about last week.
completely
That one, yeah.
Tinctorum, right?
The
Wasn't it?
ominous one. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. What's it, Brandon? Did you show?
ominosis. Yeah, the ominous one. Yeah, right. Yeah, they're hard to tell apart. Tinctorum and ominosis. I think you might only be able to tell with sequencing. But maybe they're just not well enough understood yet to have, for someone to have noticed some morphological difference or maybe a spore size or something. I don't know. So there's these completely red Cortinarius also. Sanguineus, Harrisonii, I think is one of them. Something like that. Harrisonii, maybe. Then I think there's another one also, one or two other ones that are like completely red. I don't know. This looks a little bit like it could be one of those. The cap surface here on the margin, you can see it looks a little bit sort of like, I don't want to say grainy, but sort of the tomentose or pruinos maybe. I don't know. The spores don't really look like Cortinarius spores to me, but they're not. But that photo's not real well focused either. But they could be Cortinarius spores, I guess. Actually, some of these Dermosibes have rather small spores. So,
Okay. Can we look at the gills again really quick? Um, so are those just short gills in there, or are they forked?
those look like short gills.
Yeah.
So the
Okay.
ones on the lower right, it's just because of the angle that we're viewing. The
Mhm.
large gills are kind of hiding where the short gills terminate.
Okay.
So now
It
the
is.
one there, boy, really, they do look like they're forked there in the lower right, but I think that's just because of that part of the photo is losing a little bit of resolution.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's sort of blending. So the edges of the short gills are kind of blending in with the long gills that they're next to. But if
Yeah,
you
I
look
guess
here on the upper left, like you can
it's
see very
clear.
clearly, it's just a whole
Yeah.
lot of short gills.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, just
Mhm.
making sure.
So in conclusion, are we saying this is a Cortinarius of some sort or a Tubaria?
Well, I would probably go with Cortinarius here, but this is the kind of thing that I would bring home and not commit to anything until I got a chance to study it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'm not even sure what you look for on those weird tubaria. I only found this thing once. Jacob Polk identified it for me, and he didn't know a species name. He just knew like some weird section of tubaria or subspecies, subgenus or something. Um, and it was found in a really strange habitat very early in the season, like April or something, April or May, and it was found near an old mine shaft growing on wood that I believe was part of the structure of the opening to the coal mine. And air was coming out of this coal mine, and that air has kept the air temperature near where this mushroom was more or less constant throughout good part of the year, because it's warmer than the air in the winter and cooler in the summer. So it was a very strange mushroom to find. It looked a little bit like this, but the gills were more broadly attached. So I'm going to say I would probably go with Cortinarius on this.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Yeah. Also, the cap was a little bit pointed as well, like it was not quite umbonate, but sort of
Yeah.
umbonate. Yeah, that's sort of a court thing too. So
Okay. Good.
yeah, okay.
Good. Yeah, I was hoping it was, but then there was, clearly this Slicaria. I'm pretty positive right nearby, and I was like, oh, maybe it's just when it's so.
Lacaria spores all have like really small Q. Like
Oh,
if you
okay.
find Lacaria spores with Q 1.3, that's really stretched out spores for Lacaria. So, and these spores look like they're close to like 1.8 or 2 even, the
Okay.
Q.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of elongate almost. So I would not expect like now there might be some strange species of Lacaria that I don't know, but I don't know. I'm not getting
By
Lacaria vibe from the mushroom either.
Dave, what do
Yeah.
you mean by Q? I mean, what
Q.
is Q?
Q is the ratio of length to width.
Okay.
It's quotient. Q for quotient. So if you take the length and make a fraction with the width on the bottom,
Okay. All right.
you're always going to have a result that's at least as big as the number 1, right? So a width or a Q of 1.3 would mean that you'd have like let's say like 10 by 7, something like that.
Do you know why they call it Q?
Q
Just
for
because of the
quotient.
quotient?
Yeah.
Okay. As opposed to just making it up and calling it a ratio or anything. Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Something
This
more
this was
harder, even harder. Okay.
some coral mushroom in the on that same long distance trail, Black Creek Trail, and the one on the right. I know you need to see the base, but it's really a terrible picture. You're just kind of seeing the bottom as opposed to the base. So I apologize. The shade of yellow was a little bit different than I've seen before. The photo doesn't do it justice. It's a bit uh, lighter and sort of lemonier than it appears. Um, And I know these are really hard to ID, so I'm not really dying to put a name on it, but it was fun to see, and I thought it looked a little different than my like Wisconsin coral mushrooms that I see. Um, just how the sort of tentacles were too seemed a little bit different. But
This is very unusual to me. I don't know. I'm not. Well, these corals are really difficult. So is this a Ramaria? Maybe. I mean, there's this species or this genus Phaeoclavulina, I think it is, that produces coral mushrooms that look like Ramaria. There's Ramariopsis.
right.
Um, but look at that's a really nice photo. You can see a lot of detail. So the things I see are um, the tips of the branches seem to be the same, more or less the same color as the rest of the branches. That's a useful thing to notice with these. The ends of the branches are sort of um, split apart into, as you described, Hunter. They look like tentacles. You know, there's like it's not like two of them three of them at a time. Some of them looks like there's four or five of these
Yeah, there's
projections.
like little hands coming
Like,
off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
yeah,
I was like fingers,
fingers.
digits.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Really, really nice photo.
Thank
Um, it's a
Do they have
really
any
cool
color
mushroom.
odor?
I don't know what it is, but it's really cool. Now, one thing you can do is you can lay one of these things down on a slide, and most Ramaria spores have a pretty significant Q. We just talked about Q. Most Ramaria spores have Q more or less in the neighborhood of 2.0, maybe bigger, maybe a little smaller. I think there are a few that have smaller Q. I believe Ramariopsis has spores that have a really small Q. Like, so they're not all that different from being round, maybe like subglobose or broadly ellipsoid. Um, and then there's Phaeoclavulina, but I don't understand that genus very well. So I'm not even sure if I've ever found it. I think I may have. Oh, you know what? I sent some things to Steve Russell. I think I sent a possible Phaeoclavulina to Steve, and I think it just ended up being Ramaria. So I'd have to look for that one. But anyway, no, it's
Mm.
very nice.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I thought it was different. It was definitely different. So I'll try to do a little more digging and on this. See if there's any clues.
Yeah, another thing with these Ramaria type corals, a lot of times there'll be interesting color reactions to chemicals like KOH or iron salts.
Okay, so in the field, putting
Yeah,
that
you
on.
can take them home and test them, but yeah,
Oh,
in the field, if you want to carry your chemicals around, I
mm,
think probably if you get them home
it'd be
and they're
okay.
fresh enough, you're still gonna see reaction.
Okay, and you just put it anywhere on there, or
Yeah, just smear some on a branch. Break
okay,
off a branch and put some chemical on it.
cool.
It's
Oh,
usually
that
iron salts, I think, that are used with these. I'm not sure.
okay,
And
great.
did you smell these at all? Because some of them have fragrances.
No, I don't remember smelling it. I might have, but I don't remember. Mm, okay, cool. I think that's it, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
Dave, do you have your Glacier Park
Yeah, I
lichens?
sent an email to you. There we are. Oh, wait, that's Hunter's. Yeah, I
No,
sent an
I did
email.
not get an email.
Oh, you didn't?
Nope.
Did you refresh? Let me
I
look.
don't need to. I got multiple devices. They would refresh automatically.
Oh, I see. Well, let me look. Maybe I didn't press.
Send.
Looks like I sent it to. I sent it to me. Oh,
Okay.
jeez. Okay. let me yeah, I sent it to me. Let me try to fix that. There's 4 of them that I picked out. The photos are not as good as what we saw from Doug before. They were when I was just getting used to using a
Phone?
not a phone. I don't even have a phone. Well, I have a flip
Oh,
phone. It's not good for anything except calling home to find out if we need bananas. But no, I just use a standalone camera. And this time it looks like it's going to Taxonomy Tuesdays. So there I just clicked send. So I think you should get it now.
there we go. So
Yeah, by the way, I don't know what these things are, and Karen left. She's upstairs doing something, but they just look kind of cool. And there are some good proposals. Jason Hollinger was still active identifying lichens on Mushroom Observer when I made these posts. So, and there's a few other people too who are good identifiers on Mushroom Observer. So this one, I don't know. You can look at the proposals down below. See if you can, if there's more than one ID proposal. Oh, that's just the image.
yeah, I gotta go back again.
Yeah, I didn't, I hopefully I didn't send you just an image.
Oh,
Collect the out. Yeah, yeah. See, which one was it? Was it the first one? Let's just see. I hope I didn't send you just an
yeah,
image.
that's an
No,
observation.
there's the observation. Look on the bottom. There's probably more than one because I didn't know what these are. Karen had like an idea. And then there were some people made
Well,
comments.
yeah, I think there's only the one genus mentioned.
Yeah, it's the genus is a lot of times with lichen, you can get the genus without a lot of trouble, and getting to species is really pretty difficult. So
Okay,
these were in East Glacier, and so I'm now funny thing though, some of these lichens look pretty nice if you take the photo and with no shade. Um, this photo is not particularly sharp though, but you can get the idea here. It's a pretty cool looking thing to run into. Um, and what's the genus there? Something with X. There were all
Xanthoria?
yeah, there were all these like different ones starting with X. Um,
When we were looking at the lichens before, I came across this thing, and it because I was just interested in the colors, and it came up Xeromphalina species,
oh,
indicating nutrient-rich or sunny spots, often near bird roosts or coasts, appearing bright yellow or orange due to pigments protecting against UV, but turning greenish when wet as algae becomes visible.
Well,
wow.
pretty
Well,
far
that's
away from
all
the ocean.
very interesting. Yeah, it's a pretty dry climate there in East Glacier.
Okay. But these look more orange to me than the yellows.
Yeah, this is pretty orange. I think the color's pretty true here. Because I remember it's a long time ago, 2013 or 2009, I forget. 2013, yeah. But I remember these stunning orange colors out in this more or less desert habitat. And so this one, I think it looks the same as the last one to me. Quite, a fair amount the same, but I think it's a different species, or it might even be a different genus.
Is this one still on rock?
I think it's
This
on
one looks
rock.
more, okay, it looks more like a bark to me.
Yeah, it might be a tree. You know what? That might be how it was identified. But do I have anything there in the notes?
Go back here.
I may have put something in the notes about what it was growing on. Oops. Okay. over on the right. You have to scroll up a little bit. And so this one is
Scroll up,
oh
you said? Oh, no, I don't see any notes.
I didn't put anything down. Yeah. So Jason here is Jason Hollinger. I think that's Jason Hollinger. Yeah, Jason Hollinger, right. And so if you read his comment, he posted some very nice comments. Compose as he read coarsely. So you can see here, he really provided a lot of information here.
Yeah, he discounted all the others and decided this is the one. Tiny, narrow, but flaring, flat lobes.
So I'm not very good at lichen, and Karen probably forgot about these anyway because we don't find this kind of stuff around here. But she came up with some ideas, and I put them as proposals, and some of them were at least correct to genus.
Almost corrected.
So this one wasn't though. I said it was Xanthoria, but apparently, and I also said it might be Candelaria. It looks like that got shot down pretty well.
Yeah, well, that one's definitely shot down, right? Negative.
Yeah, definitely shot down. Yeah, Xantho Mendoza fulva. So Jason Hollinger proposed that at the level of promising. So it's a pretty good chance that's what it is. He's good at these. So Cladonia is a genus, we find a lot around here. I'm not so sure though that we find this one. I don't know. Hey Karen, do we get Cladonia? What is it? Cornulata? Do we get this thing around here? It's pretty cool. Look at it. Look at these little leafy. What are the little leafy things?
Those are squamules.
Squamules, right?
Podacia, the
Yeah.
tall vertical structures are Podacia,
Ah.
and the little leafy things are called squamules.
Somehow or other, the photo is not that bad.
I don't know if you get that exact species.
We get a lot of Cladonia around here, right? But yeah, maybe not this thing.
That's cool. What are the vertical structures? What did she say?
What are the vertical structures, Karen? What's the first letter? Podacia.
Oh, okay. That's a cool one. Really?
Yeah,
cool.
I thought so. Yeah. So in this sort of harsh, dry environment in East Glacier, there's a lot of lichens. There's not a lot of mushrooms. There's a lot of lichens. I guess there's one more.
When were you there?
Yeah.
When were you at Glacier?
We've been there, geez, at least twice. I think we were there 3 times actually. Glacier is really great.
Yeah, I went there once, but it was like drought. Yeah, I was just curious if it was.
West Glacier is forested. They get rain in West Glacier, so there's a lot of trees and streams and lakes. And East Glacier is very dry. Now there are some really cool lakes, big, deep glacier-fed lakes, and this photo looks pretty nice too. And
that's
another
cool.
Cladonia, I guess. What did I
Deformis.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool looking too. I don't know. Cladonia. We only know it's Cladonia. Deformis or sulfurina. One or the other is what Jason Hollinger said. So you probably have to do like chemical tests on it. Lichen identification depends a lot on chemical tests, and you have to do these things like cut into the fruit body and find like some particular layer of context and put a chemical on that. And
feel
I
like
don't know all the
Jason taught
vocabulary.
us.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
That's the
Jason taught us,
medulla.
right? Yeah. That's a cool one though too. I thought I liked that one.
Yeah.
So there's actually it's wet. It looks like it had rained or something. So that one might not be. This might be from West Glacier. This one, I'm not sure. But you can see drops of water on the
Well, you
on
didn't see snow while you were there?
we didn't climb up high enough to get into any glaciers.
No, I didn't go to the
But
glaciers,
yes,
but
you
almost
see,
everywhere you could find snow, and even in the middle of summer.
yeah, but you can see the snow, on the at the high elevation. We didn't walk up to any of it. When we were in was it Oregon or Washington? What's the? Oh yeah, Mount Rainier. We went to Mount Rainier. That was in August, and some of the trails went across snowbanks. So, and it's kind of scary too. Some of these trails went along these pretty steep areas, and like compressed snow is slippery. It was pretty scary actually. But that was not glacier. That was Mount Rainier. So nice to look at. Okay, that was
like
the photo that I picked out.
Thank you, Dave.
Oh, you're welcome.
Anybody else have anything they want to show tonight? About 10 minutes.
I got some random finds.
Okay, you want to show it from your screen?
Yeah. All right. Found one of those tincturums, all probably frozen and thawed a few times, this one. And right next to that, on a really dead oak, couple of Ganodermas with sticks all growing through them, and just had such a nice color after they dry up at the end of the year.
I don't think I'm familiar with this genus. Is this Tentorium?
Well, Cortinarius. It was.
Oh, you said Cortinarius.
Yeah, but
Yeah, the guild mushroom is a quart. So if that is tinctorum, it looks a lot different because of having been through like freezing and thawing. So the gills on tinctorum should be sort of a lively or a dark red. I'm not saying this is not tinctorum. It might be because they do get dark after they freeze and thaw.
Yeah, I usually see them in patches right in this spot. We go there every once in a while.
Yeah, what kind of trees are there? I usually find mine under pines.
Yeah, pines and oaks, and the ground is all sand.
Yeah, and sometimes pines mixed with oak. Right. You get these partially bloody, basically what semi-sanguineous means. But the actual semi-sanguineous, the species, is pretty rare.
They usually, when they're in good condition, they have that nice, gray brown look. But man, they only I saw 2 or 3 of them. They were almost black from it, and just everything was, it's winter. We're not finding much else now besides the remnants of what was.
And it's been a cold start to winter. I know it's been really cold up here, but it's cold enough up here that even in southern Jersey, it's probably been pretty cold. Um, we've had
Yeah,
days that didn't get out of the below 20s, and we were down to 0 one morning here and single digits several times.
yeah, it's kind of like having a real winter.
So far we're having a real winter. We had snow today. I shoveled about 2.5 inches off the driveway and some walkways on our property. Doctor says I need to get more exercise, so it's not a bad snow's not a bad thing. Gets me out of the house and I get some exercise.
Don't get too much.
Yes, most heart attacks happen in the winter with
Yeah,
older people.
from
Yeah,
shoveling.
I know about that, but I've been on my cross country skis like 7 times already. I think 7, yeah. Twice on our property, Moon Lake, twice at Splash Dam, Promised Land, maybe only 6. I don't know. I'd have to count it up, but still, that's like combined. If you combine the last 3 years total, the whole winter, that's as much as cross country skiing as I was able to do. So, and that's really good exercise. So, I like the snow. I don't like the freezing rain. We're supposed to have freezing rain this weekend.
Do you have anything else, or do you want to call it a night? All right, I'll stop the
Call it.
recording.
Yeah, I hope I'm and